Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out why fantasy sounds so British. What's up with this?
All right, where'd you want me?
Trigger. I think we got one here.
Bouncing on my knee.
Beckham.
Where do you think I want you? Hands on the hilt, stupid.
Bouncing
From
on
TV
my
shows
knee.
like Rings of Power, The Wheel of Time, to films like Dungeons and Dragons, fantasy is back on the menu.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
Now I think it's a great thing, as I love a good fantasy. But with the new movies and series being released, we need to answer one big question.
Okay, before he asks that question, I just want to say I'm enjoying House of Dragon Season 2, except for the finale. The finale left me with my dick in my hand. And I love that show. I love Game of Thrones. I'm digressing, but they played a clip of House of Dragon and I just had to comment. Okay.
And series being released, we need to answer one big question. Why do they all sound so British as a naturalized Brit?
Hey, look at me, I'm British.
Wow.
And someone who enjoyed the country for over 18 years now, I'm well accustomed to the local culture. Fish and chips, the weather, queuing, I love it all. However, in fantasy and the science fiction genre, which on the surface is about imagined worlds where anything goes, British accents seem to be the default.
Why are there no captions on this young man? There they are.
British accents seem to be the default. And what's more, the audiences expect it. But why? Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien had a major impact. He's called the father of modern fantasy for a good reason. Because as an English writer and philosopher, he anchored a big portion of Middle-earth in the mythology, languages, and history of the British Isles. Now, he drew inspiration from Welsh to create several of his languages.
Really?
You've been summoned here to answer the threat of Mordor.
Mr.
Tolkien
Anderson.
admitted that the Shire was based in rural England and the old world in Europe.
Nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. Are all these children yours? Good gracious, you have been productive, haven't you?
Now, I live in South West.
I think Bilbo just called her a slut. A slag, if you will.
Now, I live in South West, and, driving through the village roads and the countryside feels like being in a classic fantasy world. I'm not even talking about Wales or Scotland, which is even more magical. Now, geographically, if Hobbiton and Rivendell are where Oxford is, and where Tolkien was a professor, then Minas Tirith, around 600 miles south, is in a place of Florence in Italy.
That's supposed to be Italy?
Lord of the Rings. But why do these trends continue, like in films and series? Another reason is Harry Potter.
That's better, isn't it?
Harry.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter!
Another hugely popular fantasy series written by J.K. Rowling, a British author. Now, the movies reflected the Britishness of the fantasy world. It became a mainstream view of Britain and fantasy.
I, a rabbit, harping home. Turn this water into rum.
But what about
That little kid's trying to get his drink on.
Game of Thrones?
I'm guilty of a far more monstrous crime.
He's American.
I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
George R.R. Martin is American, so you'd think the characters would fit the American setting, especially since it's a fairly recent production. But they still used British accents.
Fingers or your tongue, if you got to keep one, which would it be?
Now, Stephen Tierney...
It would be really strange and unbelievable if Game of Thrones characters had American accents. It would just feel so wrong. Why is that? The imagery of it is very British. A castle with moss all over it, grass everywhere, hills, trees with faces on them. It's very British. We don't have trees with faces on them in America.
Now, Stephen Tierney, admin of the Game of Thrones UK fansite, said George R.R. Martin was inspired by European medieval history. So the events were based on British history, the War of the Roses and the royal families. And even
Right. And there's also a map, the Game of Thrones map. It looks like Britain. There's a wall in the north, and that's like Hadrian's Wall.
And even though Martin is called the American Tolkien, the American setting would not work in a Song of Ice and Fire books.
Yeah, I just assumed he was British. I've even heard him talk. And he has an American accent. But I thought, because he writes Game of Thrones, I just thought he was British.
As far as the TV series goes, even Peter Dinklage, born in New Jersey and played Tyrion Lannister, said that the New York accent would not work. It just doesn't sound right.
He's so weird.
He used a posh English one.
Thank the gods. I haven't had a proper shit in 6 days.
That's a medieval suppository, y'all. Or a butt plug. Is that a good British accent, though? Y'all, if I was cast on Game of Thrones, I would have a dialect coach on set. Even if it cost me my whole paycheck, I would have a dialect coach on set critiquing every line that I performed. Because an American doing a British accent, it's gotta be good. I mean, I don't even know if I could do it. I don't know. Let me hear his line again.
Thank the gods. I haven't had a proper shit in 6 days.
Thank the gods. I've not had a proper shit in 6 days. Thank the gods. Thank the gods. Thank the gods. I've not had a proper shit in 6 days. I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
I haven't had a proper shit in 6 days.
Matt Zoller cites a TV critic.
Shit. I've not had a proper shit. Shit. I've not had a proper shit. I've not had a proper shit. Shit. Proper shit. This is something I'll do on my own time. This is what I do all day.
Matt Zoller cites a TV critic concurred that the trend is so ingrained in the fantasy genre that he's surprised when the characters don't speak in British accents. Why not change the trend? Well, we have to look at history. I'm not a historian, right? But if we say that the medieval era finished in the 15th century before the Renaissance, America skipped all of it. There were no castles, no knights, taverns, and all sorts of stuff associated with fantasy. So the American...
We do have castles. Spanish castles from back in the day, but no dragons.
So the American accent is considered modern and wouldn't fit a medieval setting, even if it's a fantasy world.
I think I am the son of Poseidon.
Oh! Percy Jackson?
But that doesn't explain the science fiction genre, which takes place in the future.
Governor Tarkin, I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Princess Leia had a British accent? No. In the rest of the movie, she has an American accent, right? The villains have the British accent. The good guys have American accents. Han Solo has an American accent. Luke Skywalker has an American accent. Billy D. Williams has an American accent. I'm confused.
Your foul stench when I was brought on board.
Is that? I don't know if that's British. It kind of sounds like that mid-Atlantic accent that American actors used to do in the early 1900s, right?
I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash.
I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. Find.
I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash.
Vader's leash? Leash? Vader's leash? Oh, I should have expected to find you holding Vader's leash. She should have done it like that. She would have gotten an Oscar if she did it Cockney.
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
So between the 16th and 18th centuries, Britain expanded its empire to the American continent,
I haven't heard of that.
Africa, Honduras, and Asia. Many places. Now this led to their recognition as one of the dominant nations with global influence. You know, the mentality of superiority instilled around the world persists even in modern times. The British monarchy is, to this day, celebrated, but known around the world. TV series like The Crown keep it going.
And who's fed you this poison? Your mother?
No.
And the late Queen's, now King's, aristocratic British accent is considered to be elegant, pleasing and attractive. It represents nobility. And because we, the people, like to categorize others, when we hear a particular British accent, the posh variety, we may automatically assume that the speaker is intelligent, affluent, and kind-hearted, sophisticated. RP, or received pronunciation, is a symbol of class, education, and wealth.
Okay,
and the prevalence of this accent in broadcasting, politics, and arts played a crucial role in reinforcing these perceptions.
I've also eaten vegan sausage rolls. Have you eaten a vegan?
I've not, but it's meant to be a monster hit for that bakery chain, isn't it? Yeah.
So in films and TV series, if we want the audience to know straight away that the character is sophisticated, we give them the proper English to speak to elevate their importance.
What is the purpose of your travels?
Purpose.
I focus on fantasy, but the expectation of a British accent affects other genres too. I mentioned sci-fi, Star Wars being an example.
The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
But then ancient Romans and ancient Greeks are often portrayed with British accent.
No retreat, no surrender.
I was on a walk through the neighborhoods of LA, maybe like 3 months ago, and I saw him walking his dog. He's a regular dude. Anyway.
So it just makes everything sound more civilized and refined. For American audiences, it makes the characters sound different to their everyday life.
My name is Lieutenant Aldo Rain, and I'm putting together a special team.
Brad.
And I need me 8 soldiers.
What accent is that, Brad?
And I'm putting together a special team, and
I'm putting together a special team. His R's are too soft. I'm putting together a special team. See? No, Brad.
And I need me 8 soldiers.
And I need me 8 soldiers. Soldiers, not soldiers. 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 I need 8 soldiers. Brad, come on now. Sorry to be honest with the critique, but it's just the way it is. It's an incorrect Southern accent, Brad. Hire me as your dialect coach. And as an actor in your next project. Like, what? I'll do it for free.
So even though fantasy and sci-fi are prevalent, this trend also affects other genres. And of course, the more it happens, the more we expect it. And it is harder to change it. Now, when I search for the exceptions to this rule, there aren't many fantasy movies with American accents. Hercules or Xena TV series are good examples. Funnily though, the Hercules series was filmed in New Zealand, and many actors weren't even American, yet they spoke with American accents.
Really?
We've been down this road before.
I never noticed that. That feels weird.
Legend of the Seeker, created by Sam Raimi, is another one, although it was cancelled after 2 seasons.
I suppose I can find something else for you to do?
Even with this series, there were concerns about the accents. So there are many different reasons why filmmakers use British accents. There aren't any written rules for it, but for now, fantasy
feels more legitimate.
Equals British. Now I wonder if we ever see a blockbuster high fantasy movie with American accents. It's probably a bit of a risk for the studios, and with, meme culture, I could see it going viral for all the wrong reasons. However, I got another idea. Now, hear me out. Lord of the Rings remake with Polish accents. Let me leave you with that thought. Thanks for watching.
Uciekajcie, jeszcze czas. A ty zostajesz.
That looks believable to me.
Nie zatrzymała was lawina, którą spuściłem na wasze głowy.
Oh, that's creepy. Yes, do that. Oh, hey, it's recommending one of my videos. Wow, this was interesting. Yeah, the British accent just lends some legitimacy to it, doesn't it? When it's an American accent, it's harder to let myself get absorbed into it. It feels fake. It feels like it was filmed down the street, and it probably was. It feels like they're eating pizza for lunch, you know? Also, a lot of the sci-fi and fantasy, or the sci-fi, like Star Wars, the bad guys have British accents. And there is something scarier about it. It's like more intimidating. It's less familiar, but more authoritarian. Not authoritarian, but they have more authority. You know what I'm trying to say? So I guess it started with Tolkien. I mean, modern fantasy. And he is British. And then George R. R. Martin was a big Tolkien fan. He's American, but he loved Tolkien so much. He gets it. Then, of course, Harry Potter. So British. Are there even any American characters in Harry Potter? I don't think there are. No, there are no American characters in the Harry Potter book series. Well, there's something to expand to. Harry Potter goes to the valley. Harry, come with me to Calabasas. We'll get a nice vegan chicken salad. Botoxias. Buccal fat removal. Breast implantia. Harry Potter has vocal fry. Patronus. Patronus. I would love to see a valley girl show up in Game of Thrones. What is your dragon's name? My dragon's name is Parker. That's a good name. I named my dragon Bradley. Oh, Bradley. Bradley is toxic. Harry Potter goes to New Jersey. Hey, yo, Harry, what the f***? What you doing? What you doing over here with your wand? Look at Harry with his little wand. What a little fairy. What a little fairy, Harry. With Fairy Harry. Fairy Harry. Harry the fairy. Hey, look at Harry flying around on his broom. You know what? No gas. He needs no gas. He flies on magic. There's no gas. Hey, you know what? F*** you and your dragons. F*** you and your dragons. No gas. There's a whole genre that we're missing out on. There's a lot of information in an accent, isn't there? It's like subconscious information comes through in an accent. Amazing. Well, thank you all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later. See you tomorrow? See you tomorrow. Later.